Hey, Bobby, can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Peter?
Yes. Can you hear me?
So I'm obviously not hearing anyone. So
I
hold
can I can
on.
hear you.
Let me just test this. How's that?
I can hear you.
I can hear you now.
Good.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. My speakers were all, and I will record this. Excellent. So I think we're just waiting for Joey and other people to attend. Not sure. Eugene, can you hear us? Check to see if Gordon and Eugene can hear us.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to stop the recording for this part of it.
Yeah. And if I had any cleverness in me, I'd live stream this to YouTube, but I'm not going to take a chance with this computer system that might crash everybody out. So, welcome to the event. It is hosted by Princeton Blockchain and AI. This is session one, and this is the series that we're putting on has to do with AI that's out there and how entrepreneurs and decision makers can see this new technology and how it will affect and be able to enhance their workflows and their companies and just amazing things. So let's get started here. My cursor on this. So again, this is a meetup. It's hosted by me, which is Bobby Mascara, and I did forget to put my name anywhere, Peter. I apologize for that. But I do host these three Princeton meetups, and since our last meetup, I'd like to say we have crossed over with the Princeton Blockchain and AI to over 2,000 members. So that is pretty cool.
Awesome.
I think we've been working up getting up. Now we're at 2000. So that's awesome. And then Ledger Academy is another meetup group, which does a lot of classes, a lot of curriculum, online courses. We haven't really done anything recently, but we'll probably kick back in the summer. And we also host Princeton, the Linux Foundation, formerly Hyperledger Princeton meetup, which has Hyperledger Linux Foundation backing and is usually a networked event. So those three are the meetups that we kind of have control over. And we really like the fact that we're doing a summer series for Princeton Blockchain and AI. This is an announcement. There's an interesting event starting up, a community that's being built by Peter. Peter, if you want to talk about this, or I could just continue.
Yeah. So I started this thing a year and a half ago to help people learn, apply, and share what they're doing with artificial intelligence. And I've been wanting to do this for a while, where it's less about me speaking and more about like giving everyone a chance to share what they're doing. So we're kicking it off actually tomorrow at 1 p.m. Feel free to go to the innovatorsalliance.com and sign up for the wait. You can do that with AI. If you can't make it this Friday, don't worry. We're going to have this every Friday and just have people share how they're using it in their business lives, their personal lives, and a great way to sort of learn and get, the community involved.
Excellent. Okay, so I am going to put that link in the chat if I can grab it off the slide.
I could do
Probably.
that, Bobby. You can keep going.
Okay, awesome. So another announcement we have is, and we have Don on the call too here, and Adiza. This is our partner, which we're working with, Keystone chapter of the Founders Institute. The Founders Institute is an incubator platform that helps young entrepreneurs. Well, it doesn't have to be young. I was in the program, so an entrepreneur with a new idea, walk through the beginning steps of creating a pitch deck and validating their idea, getting great counsel from mentors who have been in the industries that they're trying to break into. It has cohorts that start twice a year. The new cohort just started, and Adiza is in that cohort. So we look forward to watching you grow and watching your company evolve through the Founders Keystone program. And they have great sessions that just help general that are open to the public. There is a session there that you can find on the website that Peter put in the chat. So we'd love to see. And if you do have an idea for Founders Institute or a company that you've been trying to get off the ground, this is the place to go. And this is the time to do it, because right now it's business is booming. So don't be left out. And then this is another, we work closely with Crypto Mondays, and this is their new community that they're developing to try to rein in AI, decentralized agents, and try to give it some organization and community behind it. These are the working groups that they've formed, but they're open to new working groups. If you have a working group that you feel the Decentralized AI Agents Alliance could benefit from, or you can sit in on any of these and see if this is the one community for you. Again, their meetings are fabulous, innovative. It's the leaders in the field trying to make headway into policies, decisions, communities. So it's really, if you're
And
into AI agents, that's the place to be.
and
Or
and, and
you can
Joey and
do,
I head up the conversational voice AI agent subgroup, and we have a monthly meeting. And if you go to the Innovators Alliance, you can sign up there.
and that has a lot to do with the topic for tonight. So if you're interested in this topic, again, that might be a place to join a community to keep the momentum going. And this, Peter, I, and a gentleman named Gianluca, who went through the Founders Institute last cohort, we have a chatbot that we're working on. We meet every Monday. So if you're a developer or just interested in watching a new business grow, you're more than welcome to come to our calls. This is a few screens. The screen on the left is how we get what AI FAQ does is it takes chatbots that are out in the market. It takes your private information and builds your private knowledge base that you can use as your private chatbot. So for instance, Founders Institute is looking at building a chatbot to help with the vast amounts of curriculum they have. So if someone's in the program and they have a specific questions about a specific thing, instead of having to look through all the documentation, they can go right to this chatbot, ask their question, and get an answer that is sponsored by Founders Institute. It's Founders Institute information, so it's valid. And at the same time, Founders Institute decides what information is private and public. This, again, is the purpose of AI FAQ, is to get at your information. We have clients in the Hyperledger community, Crypto Mondays, Founders Institute, and we're looking to partner with new people. So if you're interested in getting your data to, wait, here it is. This is our favorite quote at AI FAQ. To get your data, to get the value you need out of the data you have, you need to reach out to us. You can go to our website, which is aifaq.pro, and there's a form there if you want us to contact you for more information, or you can just join the call on the Linux Foundation website, which, hold on just a second. Let me see if I can get that in the chat. Here we go.
And I do love that quote.
I do love that quote. It is my favorite of all times. It just hits right on the spot. Okay, so hopefully this will work fine for everyone. This in the chat. Let's see. Nope, I'll get it to you at the end when the gentlemen are speaking later on. So that is AI FAQ. That's a project that we've all been working on. And you'll hear more about that later on in the season. This is another announcement that's close to home for me. I've been working with the Linux Foundation for 7, 8 years now in the Hyperledger community. The Hyperledger community is now called the Decentralized Trust under the Linux Foundation, and they are accepting mentees for a paid mentorship program, or there's also a collaborative learning program, which means you do the same thing as the paid mentee, but you just get a letter recommendation from the Linux Foundation, which is very important for starting out college kids. So they're accepting applications till May 11th. I will also get that link in the chat in a minute. But we do have AI FAQ 2 programs in there. The first one is we're trying to get our public chatbot that we use to give you a choice. So instead of just using ChatGPT or Minstrel or Claude, you'd be able to pick which one of those you'd like your private information to build your private knowledge base off of. So we're accepting mentees for that program, and then we're also building a connector to Snowflake, which is a company that offers a platform to handle all of your data, huge data lakes, huge data information. We're going to be on their platform in their marketplace to help companies query, ask questions, and get valid information out of their large data banks. So that's that. And now moving forward, I'm going to introduce Joey Seeman and Peter Chmiel. Peter can go first, and then turn it over to Joey. So if there's any questions of me, I'll be around at the end. Peter, take it away.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Peter Chmiel, live here in lovely Sayreville, New Jersey, and I'm a serial entrepreneur who's done management and IT consulting, and I'm currently super excited by what Joey and the team have built at Nova Echo, and joined the team back in December as the head of partnerships, and have been super impressed by Joey and the team. I'm also a startup advisor and mentor. I advise multiple startups and am part of the Founder Institute and the Crypto Mondays, startup accelerators and incubators. So if anyone has any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. And then Don Samoil is also on the line, and he can answer any questions people have. And I'll turn it over to Joey, and I'll put my contact information in there if anyone wants to reach out.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joey. I've been working with Peter for about maybe 6 months or so now, but we met over a year ago, I think, at this point. And I'm the CEO of Nova Echo, and we're building a conversational voice AI platform, which is an AI that sounds just like a human, as Peter was discussing before, and it can make sales calls and take customer service calls over the phone in a variety of use cases. And could we go to the next slide real quick? There we go. All right, so today's agenda is, first, we're going to go over AI voice agents in general and explain how they've matured a lot in the past couple of years. And we're going to pretty much go over all the different use cases that are available with them and how they can be used in businesses. And then we're going to go over how to cash in on the AI gold rush, because it doesn't only have a use case within businesses, it also has a use case in new companies that are being created to distribute this technology to businesses that already exist. And then after that, we'll take questions and give answers about all of this. So first off, I want to quickly go over a couple of things, and I'll show you guys a full demo of the technology so you can actually hear and see how it works. But the AI has human-like voices at this point, which are indistinguishable from talking to real people. And so when we make calls over campaigns, over 95% of people that we're calling cannot even tell that it's an AI anymore, which is astonishing. And never used to be that way. It used to be that when you would call it, you would instantly know, because it would take 6 to 10 seconds to respond to you. And the voices didn't sound human, and the features were terrible. And that was 2 years ago. And it's come a long way since then. And now the latency is sub 1.5 seconds on most interactions. And the agents sound just like humans. It's very hard to tell the difference because the inflections in their voice. And there's features for all different kinds of use cases. So almost any business can use this, and replacement of, but we prefer in addition with their current sales and customer service team. So quickly, I'm actually just going to pull my phone out and show you guys a demo. Oh, is this the one after? Yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna pull my phone and I'm gonna call the AI. I'm gonna show you guys a demo of what it sounds like live of it selling our own technology. So it's gonna be selling itself basically, but it can be prompted to sell anything. So for our clients, we set up the AI so that it doesn't even know what Nova Echo is, which is our company. It doesn't know anything about voice AI. It either thinks it's a human or it thinks it's an AI assistant for that company. But here's an example of how we use it for ourselves.
Hey, this is James from Nova Echo. How can I help you?
Hey, James, can you tell me a little bit more about what Nova Echo is capable of when it comes to sales?
Absolutely. Nova Echo can make over 100,000 calls per hour and offers over 125 different voices, making it an incredibly powerful tool for sales outreach. Would you like to know more about how it can integrate into your specific processes?
Yeah, sure.
It's designed to handle a large volume of interactions seamlessly, allowing your sales team to focus on closing deals while we take care of the repetitive communication. Would you like to know more about the specific features or benefits?
So I think that gets the point across. Hopefully, it wasn't too choppy over the mic. Sometimes that happens. But the point is that the AI can have full length conversations. That was probably 30 seconds, but we've seen it on the phone for up to 40 minutes, having full conversations with people. And it just goes on and talks about whatever, depending on how it's prompted. So typically, with this agent specifically, it will always come back to Nova Echo. No matter what you tell it, it will answer the question and then tie it back in. So, for example, if I were to ask it what color the sky is, which I give it as a quiz sometimes, it'll tell me, and then it will be like, "This sky is beautiful." And you know what else is beautiful? The results that Nova Echo can get you, and it will type right back. And we make sure to set that up no matter what we're doing. That way, if somebody brings up some random question or finds out it's an AI somehow, if they're part of that 5%, and they ask it some ridiculous thing, it still ties it back into the sale. So, yes, that is the demo. We go to the next page, the one right after. Awesome. So, just a couple more benefits that I'm sure you guys can infer about Nova Echo and voice AI in general, but I'll say them anyways. First is that it's extremely cost effective. And it can be as much as 80% less expensive than human reps because with human reps, you're paying for training, you're paying for hiring, you're paying for managing, you're paying for, multiple managers. And if they're in person, you're also paying for food and water and an office building and electricity and all kinds of stuff. And so with the AI, you pay once to train it forever. And then you just pay a small amount per minute that adds up to around $12 per hour if it goes nonstop. But the cool thing is, in the average call center, an employee is only on the phone for 2.7 hours out of an 8 hour paid workday. And so it's people are almost never going nonstop. They're usually only going for a third of the time that they're actually being paid to go for. And so even though the AI adds up to $12 an hour, if you take a third of that, it's $4. So if you compare it to a human, it's closer to $4 an hour. And then it's a small monthly subscription that's less than the salary of somebody overseas, $333 per month. And so it's much more cost effective. Consistency, it follows your script and your guidelines every single time, the exact same way, without interruption, without being sad, without being angry. With humans, as amazing as they are at the higher leverage tasks, with the repetitive things that just get annoying, they're not good at all because they have something called emotion. And when people keep saying the same things to them and they are not looking at the obvious places for answers, humans get annoyed and they stop performing consistently. And that's also not fun for them either. And then highly scalable. It can do thousands of calls simultaneously. It can do hundreds of thousands of calls per day if needed. And it's always available, obviously, because it can work 24/7, 365, and it can make sure that your clients always get customer service, regardless of where or when they're calling.
And that's key because think about how annoying it is to be put on hold, or when you email a company and say, "Hey, I'd like some sales information," or to talk to a rep, that like if you got to wait a day or two, or if you have to leave a voicemail for people to get back to you, um, this just is always available.
Exactly. And then, yeah, so as for what kind of customers the AI agents are ideal for, it's typically people that have high call volume. So they're trying to make a ton of calls every day, and they have a huge call center or a lot of people that are doing it, and that could be easily outsourced to AI. There's labor shortages or high turnover. That's very common when we look at setting roles and first level customer service roles. There's a lot of high turnover because it's not fun for the actual human performing the job at all. They don't enjoy it in most cases. So it's great for AI. If there's high training costs and it takes a long time to onboard people, that can also be very, very useful because, like I said, it's very cost effective and it's very quick to train. Usually only takes 1 to 2 weeks rather than months and months, not years. And then it has, if there's moderate call complexity. So for the very high leverage tasks and the very complex calls, you're still going to want a human. We never tell people to put an AI and use it for those calls. We tell them to use an AI to get more people to those calls for the humans to close. And then for use cases, lead qualification, appointment booking, customer service, surveys, and re-engagement campaigns are all great. Again, you'll see that there's no closing on that list. It can be used for closing for very low ticket products, but we recommend using it in order to basically help the funnel push more people towards the human closers. And then for industries, we've implemented this technology into a lot of different kinds of industries, and it works with pretty much any company because it's just another way to communicate over the phone, which every company does. But some of the biggest industries we work with are real estate and financial services and home services and professional services and hospitality and charitable donations and political fundraising. So obviously a lot of service-based businesses work very well with this technology. All right. So, yeah, the voice AI technology is going to be used not just in the appointment setting part of the funnel, but it's actually going to be used in every single part of the funnel as we continue to grow because it's just the most preferred method of customer communication. Since people prefer to be on calls, they do not like necessarily texting or emailing. They like being able to pick up the phone or get a phone call and get their questions answered and everything they need to be taken care of, taken care of. And so the AI will be used for lead generation to initially qualify leads and try to book them into an appointment. It's going to be used for onboarding and to service customers. So we personally use this for both of those steps. We use it for lead generation when somebody comes in from an ad. We use it for follow-ups to make sure that they eventually book, even if they didn't book immediately. And we use it for onboarding. So whenever somebody comes in, they can actually call one of our AI agents, talk to it, and our voice AI agent will build them a voice AI agent. So it can be used like that, which is an interesting use case, or it can be used in any other type of onboarding. Then for operational tasks, so this is, scheduling additional follow-up appointments or consultation calls or taking orders effectively if people want to put in more orders for the same kind of product. And then obviously retention and growth as well, just checking in with customers, making sure that everyone is having a good time and even getting reviews and getting surveys completed. So the three main things that we're focused on right now are eliminating tedium, which is just tedious tasks that people are doing over and over and over and over and that don't provide huge results. They just kind of need to get done, but they're not very useful. So this is, continuous calling and lead screening, for example. And then the second is focusing on relationships. This is problem solving and connection building and making sure that we're improving the connections between all the different leads and prospects that the AI is tasked with following up with. And then productive and happier employees because employees don't want to be doing these tedious tasks. They don't like it. They want to be focusing on the higher leverage tasks that actually matter so that they feel like they're doing something that's useful. And so having the AI take care of, 80% of the work that's providing 20% of the results, and then having humans take care of the 20% of the work and focusing way more on it, 5 times more on it, that provides 80% of the results is going to be the best solution for most companies. All right. So quickly, I want to just go over how to cash in on this AI gold rush, because if you heard what I just said, all of it, then I'm sure you understand how powerful this technology can be across businesses and how prominent it's going to become as we continue to improve the technology and as more businesses continue to hear about it, because very few businesses even know it exists yet. Very, very few. It's a very new industry. And even we're in that community. We see the new tech things as soon as they come out, but the average person has no idea that this even exists. And so what we tell people is don't build your own AI models that, and try to handle massive capital and proprietary data and all this kind of stuff. That's a pain. And it probably also won't work very well because, like us, we're not trying to compete with OpenAI. We're not trying to compete with Google or Meta, not Meta, with Google or Microsoft, excuse me, because why would we? We're focused on building the best platform for consumers and businesses. That's the end of it. So instead of trying to build your entire own AI model, instead you can leverage technology that already exists, that already leverages technology that already exists. That way you can move very quickly and without a lot of startup costs. Instead of needing millions, you can literally start with a couple grand. And that makes a gigantic difference and it allows the market to be open to so many more people. So instead, you can cut costs by automating tasks and automating tasks that businesses spend $100,000 plus a year on. And a lot of businesses even spend more than that because I was actually talking to an insurance company not too long ago, and they were spending something like $40 million a year on just sales because they were doing huge numbers and they were paying a ton of commissions. They were paying a ton for onboarding, a ton for hiring, and they were trying to hire, thousands of people to take these calls because they were getting so many. And that's a lot of waste. It's a lot of waste, and it's a lot of people that could be trained to do things that are more important, more useful to the end customer. So yeah, the real opportunity is not, the real opportunity is not in developing AI. It's providing a practical AI solution to businesses. That's basically a summary.
Yeah. And I wanted to just add something about the thin layer. As someone who works with a lot of startups, I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, OpenAI doesn't have this feature. Let me go build that." And these thin layers on top of existing AI models and LLMs, I think is a very short-term opportunity. It's the equivalent of, if you guys remember when the iPhone came out and people were selling flashlight apps until Apple just built that into the operating system of, hey, click here and turn on a flashlight. So I think a lot of these startups are have a short shelf life if they're just going to have models built on top of if these models are going to replace a lot of this functionality as they evolve. So that's why like focus on practical solutions over that. And when they say, hey, in a gold rush, don't look for gold, sell picks and shovels. So that's our advice.
Right. And to join the Nova Echo community, there's a couple of different things that we have in order for you guys and others to actually, cash in on that gold rush and start earning money from it. And so there's the affiliate program in which we pay 25% of ongoing commissions whenever somebody refers somebody to our technology. Like I said, it's $333 a month. We also have a setup fee for some clients that want us to set everything up for them, which can be anywhere from $2,500 to $8,000. So anyone who refers somebody to us, regardless of what plan they get, we send 25% of that revenue for the setup and the monthly fees back to that referral partner, and that's free to join. Then we have the branded agency, and that is where people can actually leverage our technology and add it into the business they already have or create a new business with it. And that is really great for consultants. It's really great for marketing agencies that want to add this as a service on top of what they're already doing. And then we also have Fani, which is a community that will basically teach people how to create their own voice AI agency through the branded agency program. So those are three different ways to get involved in Nova Echo. And Peter just put the links to all those in the chat there for you guys. So that first one's the affiliate program. We're now also paying people to get views. So if they post about Nova Echo, we're paying $1.50 per 1,000 views on short form and $30 per 1,000 views on long form. So that second one is where you can earn money on the affiliate program by basically posting about it and then also earning money in the back end whenever people sign up.
Cool.
Awesome. And then last couple things here. We're doing a little special today so that anybody who signs up for the affiliate program and brings somebody in for that first person are going to get 100% commission on the first month subscription fee. And You can join by emailing peter@novaecho.ai with the subject line Nova Echo affiliate, or you can click the link that Peter put in the chat here. And yeah, this is just for people on this call. Alrighty. And last thing I'll say here is you can contact me at joey@novaecho.ai. Like I said, you can also reach out to Peter at peter@novaecho.ai. Our newsletter, Peter, would you mind dropping the link to the newsletter in the chat as well? And we do a newsletter once a week, just basically keeps everyone updated on the new updates that we're rolling out and how our company is growing. So feel free to join that. And Peter, if you want to talk about the rest for the Innovator Alliance, you can do that as well. Although we, as you guys know, have a subgroup now on the Innovators Alliance, or maybe I'm getting my
The decentralized AI.
yeah, I'm getting my names mixed up.
Yep, that for that community. But I list those events with the Innovators Alliance. So
Okay, gotcha.
that's where you sign up for those events
Understood. Okay,
on,
yeah.
on
So
the
you guys can
Innovators
go there.
Alliance.
Okay, and then join our subgroup. And then also, we have an early investment opportunity. So anybody who wants to possibly invest in Nova Echo, there'll also be a link in the description for that, or in the chat for that. And it's wefunder.com/novaecho.ai. And we are taking a minimum investment of $100. So this is really for people who are close to us and want to get in to Nova Echo in some degree. So far, we've raised 25,000 just from people close to us that put in a few $100s mostly, including Bobby here, Bobby and Peter. And if you want to hear a demo of Nova Echo and learn more about it, you can go to the website as well, which is just novaecho.ai. So yes, thank you guys for listening, and I appreciate the attention. I will hand it back to Bobby and Peter.
Well, I do have to say that WeFunder campaign for me, that was the first time I actually crossed over because I'm always looking at WeFunder as a serial entrepreneur, just to see like the new ideas that are out there. And I came across the Novo Echo after I had a meeting with Joey, completely independent, and I saw it and I was like so excited.
Oh,
And then like
really?
within a day, Joey gets back to me and says, "I saw that you." I was like, "Yes, I did." So that's like another opportunity, as well as the affiliates link, which I'm also a part of that. So there's so many ways to get involved in this. And I know Peter might want to talk about just that AI agency idea of setting this up for yourself if you're an entrepreneur looking to break into AI.
Yeah, so to tell you a little more about the affiliate and the branded agency. So with the affiliate program, you literally, join up and you get a referral link. And so you could send that, aside from reaching out to people you know directly, you could, post that on social media. You could follow Joey and I and Nova Echo and repost stuff with your affiliate link. And it will track, and you'll get a dashboard and you could track all the people that are clicking on that link and then who then become leads and then who also close. So it's really easy to track that. Um, and then where I really see the bigger opportunity, as Bobby and Joey were talking about, is with this branded agency. So, whether you want to do this full time or grow it into a full time business, um, this technology is going to replace call centers. It's going to replace, marketing agencies and lead generation agencies. So you could leverage your business contacts and literally create your own branded agency and call center and white label it as your business and just use Nova Echo to power that. And you could come up with your own, revenue model. You could either charge, transactionally by the minute or subscription the way we do at Nova Echo. But you could also, if you decide want to do it, I'm going to do it on a performance basis. Hey, for every lead I generate for you, I'm going to charge you $5 or $50, or do it on a performance basis. I'm going to run a re-engagement campaign and take, your database of, 100,000 dead leads who were previous customers, and we're going to go and re-engage them and get a share percentage of the revenue with you. And that's found money for companies, and there's no risk to them if you do it on a performance basis. So it's really up to you to how creative and how you want to apply this. But I think in today's environment, no one's job is safe. I think it's always a good idea to have multiple streams of income. And, you know, if you want to cash in on the AI gold rush, I think this is a great way to, dip your toe in the water and go build a recurring revenue stream. Anything you wanted to add to that, Joey?
You said it.
Cool. So here, let's open up the floor to questions. What did you guys think? Did you want to hear more demos? Do you have any, other questions about the platform and this whole space around AI voice agents? Feel free to
Yeah,
just
hi
take yourself
everyone.
off mute and
Okay.
jump in. Hi, Eugene.
Yeah, hi. I live in Australia these days, and my question is about the latency. Like if for example, if I subscribe to your program, and if people would call to Australian numbers, would they get some connection lags? Like,
So
do you have a local numbers? Like, what do you do with the telephony?
Did you want to
yes.
actually maybe show them how you actually choose a number, Joey?
Yeah, sure. Moment.
Yep. Do you want me to stop sharing so you can?
Yeah. Here we go. Thank you. So you can press by phone number here and click Australia. And then what's an area code near you?
Mobile phone, yeah. Mobile phone 0421, for example.
421.
So it would be a mobile phone. Yeah.
Okay, the area codes work different, so I'm gonna mess it up, but okay, here. Whatever, this works.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Yeah.
yes, you combine these
So,
numbers and it's not gonna increase the latency by noticeable amount for
yeah.
Australia. And another thing that we've seen that's very good is, to my knowledge, and you should double check this, but to my knowledge, in Australia, there's no laws against mass outbound cold calling. So we've had clients that have taken advantage of that because in the US, there's now restrictions against it.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't do direct. You can't just start spamming consumers here in the US. And there's things like a do not call list. But
Somebody should tell that to my cell phone.
me too. Every other call, telemarketer.
Okay, so do you have any what they call it? It's a edge location. So for example, you would use for connection, you would use some Australian edge center, data center, say in Sydney. Like, because like to my knowledge, there is a lag. I just tried myself,
Oh,
not with
okay.
your platform, but yeah, some others.
So did you compare it to also trying with a US based
Yeah,
number?
I tried the Twilio platform.
Yeah.
So I bought the US number and I bought Australian numbers, and yeah, I was playing around, and I see like yeah, if it's just plain American number, like the big difference.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So
surprised to
it
hear
just
that.
like it's possible to set up. It's possible to set up, and yeah, I've set up on the Australian number. I can see the difference.
I would I would
And
encourage you to go to our novaecho.ai website and try
yeah,
a press here demo and then try a call with an Australian with your own number and it will call
okay,
and just see because
okay,
from my experience with our clients, I haven't heard that yet, but I'm also not in Australia, so I haven't tested it myself.
yeah. Yeah, it's okay. And also, how do you process accents and other languages? Like, can I, or like, how does it work? Like, for example, if you have your agent, for example, can you set up the like the same content for the, say, Spanish language, like your clients call in Spanish?
Sure.
Yep.
Do you want to show them the
Yeah.
languages and the agent options.
Is it like when you build the flow, would it be just kind of duplication amount of information? You just do the copy of all your texts and the yeah.
You can actually keep the text in English and it will automatically switch for you.
Okay,
So
good.
we have 38 different language options here. We do have Spanish that you mentioned, and then we have some multilingual voices that you can use as well. So we have a lot of different voices to choose from.
Okay, so you build your flow just in English, right? And it can switch to the other languages. For example, like your client say, "Oh, I want to talk in Spanish," and it would switch. Is it
So
how it
not during
works?
the call. With Spanish specifically, we do have a multilingual for Spanish and English, but typically you would pick the language beforehand, but the
Uh-huh.
script, the prompt, you could write in English or in the language that you choose, regardless. On the call, it will still speak whatever language you put here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for them to come out with Jersey so that it'll translate my Jersey stuff into proper English.
That'll
Mine
be,
too.
Joey, get on that.
yeah,
Forget
thank you.
about it.
Good tip.
And also like how um kind of like how difficult is to build the flow. So my understanding, like you still need to put some effort. Like I was playing with some like I don't know Dialogflow CX from Google, and yeah, you go, you create it, and yeah, it takes time, and all the flow turns and stuff like what's with your platform? How difficult is it?
So maybe we want to show them how to do like workflows and just a brief thing on some of the prompting templates, maybe.
Uh, oops. Okay. So this is how you build an agent that's in this screen here. So we would first do an opening message, which is the first thing the AI says when it calls somebody. Then we would pick a voice. I'm going to pick Troy. And then we're going to add counter booking or call transferring, depending on what you want. We're going to add double calls. We'll call people twice in order to get past do not disturb. We're going to turn on this higher sensitivity. We're going to turn on voicemail detection so that it hangs up after voicemail. We're going to increase the AI creativity a little bit so that it's more dynamic on the calls. And then we're going to choose a prompt. And then we're going to make a test call because the agent's done. So it takes about, for a very, very simple agent, it can take 45 seconds. If you want an extremely complex agent that has all kinds of automations that are attached to it and a perfect script of prompting for your business specifically, then it could take days. But for a very base agent, if you need it to be 80% and you're happy, you could do it very, very quickly. If you want it to be 100%, that's where we come in and we just build things out for you. So yeah, that's why we have two different plans for smaller companies that don't care as much about the quality. They just kind of want to save that time. They use this typically, and then if they want us to do it because they want it to be perfect and they want the highest result for their sales, then we take care of all of it and we go very in depth with the prompt engineering. We have experts that build out custom prompts for our clients, and then we also build custom automations around it within our CRM so that the AI can perform actions like summarizing calls and sending transcripts and booking appointments and then sending reminders for that appointment and doing automated follow-ups and all kinds of stuff like that.
So, for example,
And
Eugene, I've played around with this and tried different things of like, oh, here's how I wanted to handle certain objections. Oh, here's certain information I wanted to collect to screen the candidate. Oh, here's some frequently asked questions. So if they ask a question about my product or service, it has these answers. And and if someone is interested, then I will, and seems like a hot lead. Hey, let's transfer it right away to a salesperson. If it's someone who's not someone interested and says, hey, let's follow up maybe in a couple month or two, it could set up workflows to program to call them back in 2 months. So it's really dynamic and very flexible.
Mm-hmm. So, Joy, what would be the example of the simple flow?
So the simple flow, like what I just showed you, basically, I mean, there's a lot of different use cases that you can have that are already built for you, but and when you call it, it'll do something basic like, it'll talk to you, it'll give some basic responses, it'll answer some basic questions, and then it will book an appointment. Or it'll talk to you, it'll answer some questions, and then just cut it there if it's a customer service agent. When you get more complex, you will be able to answer more and more complex questions and more of them. It can have much longer conversations. It will have better sales strategies if it's a sales agent, so that as it's going through the call, it has a higher chance of actually closing that lead. And then there's also actions on the back end where it can send texts and emails and voicemails and collect data and send data depending on what happens during the call.
So, like the booking would be considered the part of the basic flow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, like just booking an appointment would be considered basic, but appointment reminders and follow-ups to that appointment, and if
Yeah,
they get a call but they don't book, calling them again with a different script, that's all more complex. But yeah, just booking an appointment on a Google Calendar, let's say,
yeah.
you'd be able to set that up pretty quickly.
Mm. Okay. All right.
So great
Thank
questions,
you.
Eugene, and feel free to ask more, but I want to give other people a chance to jump in. Does anyone else have any other questions or would like to share their thoughts? Okay,
I have a question,
sure.
just out of curiosity. So I've been thinking of how to utilize AI to make my life easier. My business is still early stages. However, I'm just wondering for someone that's just starting out, for the most part, is me and the VA. Um, how and when, does it make sense, for example, to implement this? I don't know that I'm going to necessarily need to make a lot of calls, but does this work for any other form of outreach, for example, besides calls?
So, but what business are you running right now?
So my business is African American STEM, so it's more like educational mentoring, all that kind of stuff for professionals in STEM. Um, yeah, so we do a lot of virtual things, but I don't necessarily I don't see them as being people that actually necessarily want to get on a call, for example. But I'm just wondering, how do you use AI agents to also like help with communication? I saw some about frequently asked questions and things like that. I'm just trying to understand how I can use it to make my life easier.
Yeah, how do you get clients now?
Events, like I host events and people sign up and then get on my email list, or I do like campaigns on LinkedIn, for example. Yeah.
What's your typical show up rate when you do these events for people that sign up?
You mean people that signed up versus people that show up? So my events are weird. So I do them live on LinkedIn. I also have an Eventbrite thing. I also have it on my website. So right now I don't necessarily know where people come from. But most of my people come from LinkedIn anyway because I'm there most of the time. Um, and I'll probably say when people sign up on LinkedIn, I probably say I get about like 30 to 50% show up rate, for example. And they're always like, okay, they can always get the replay and listen to it afterwards, but whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple use cases that it could be used for there. Typically, it'll work better once you scale
Mm,
up more and you have more leads coming through the door because then,
yeah.
clarity matters more. But you can use it to if you're getting a lot of these people that are coming to your events or your website with your Eventbrite,
Mm,
you can ask for their phone number and you can set it up
mm,
to automatically call them an hour before the event, 10
mm.
minutes before the event, at the time of the event. And if they get calls like that, there's going to be a lot more people showing up. And if you turn the conversion of booked to show up from 30% to 60%, I'm making those numbers up, you said around 30, then you're going to double your revenue
Mm.
pretty much overnight just by setting it up. And I don't think that's unrealistic because a lot of people that don't show up to events just forget they exist.
Yes. Hmm.
So
Okay.
that would be the first use case I would use once you have enough leads to where, the doubling the revenue will pay for the AI, basically.
Hmm. So, okay, so basically in case of for like reminders, not necessarily make an appointment to have conversations. So that makes sense. Yeah.
And so you send them from the webinar to an appointment? One-on-one?
No, I'm saying I was thinking you could only use it like when you have appointments, for example.
Oh, I see.
But we are saying that if I have events, those could be a way to kind of send reminders to people with voice notes or whatever, so that that way they can show up more. Because to your point, yeah, I signed up for things and I forget that I signed up for it.
So
Yeah.
do you have a fairly large email list how big is your email list that you invite people to?
Right now, I have about 800 people
Yeah.
on the list.
So one of the things that we found out is that if you combine voice calls with email invites, that you'll actually get a higher response to your emails.
Mm,
So we're actually talking with someone who does political fundraising events, and he's got a large database of 10,000 people that he invites to these political fundraisers, and he just doesn't have the time, money, and resources to call all of them. He'll call maybe the high dollar donors, but for the most of people, he can't really contact them. So he's going to implement this in a way that um, he sends out an email, follows up with a phone call, and even if he leaves a voicemail, that, hey, just want to let you know, hey, we sent you this email about this great event we're hosting for a cause you really care about, and hope you can make it. He'll get a higher click rate on those emails now, and hopefully then higher turnout to his political fundraising events.
And I know
So,
we're
Yes.
kind
so the same could be applied for you.
Yeah, we're
Mm,
kind of in the same industry with like the Ledger Academy work that I do. And I would use this if I had phone numbers for or get phone numbers for people just to keep them informed um, of what's happening next, like to keep your tribe engaged. So
mm,
you might
Mm,
want to just leave a voicemail to everyone who's ever signed up that you have their phone number to say, next month I'm doing this. I'll send you an evite to it. So that that people are aware of what you're doing because I found that most people when I say, "Oh, I just ran that event," they're like, "I didn't know." So it's a great
right.
way to keep your folks engaged when there's not really something happening that day but coming up.
So I guess the lesson learned now is to also include phone number when I'm asking for information because I haven't been doing that a lot except for if I was hosting a webinar or something like that. But okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could decide what's appropriate and whether to
Um,
make it optional or not, or
yeah.
required field. If you feel that's going to create friction and prevent people from signing up for your events, that could be a judgment call. Or you could do it as in what's called progressive profiling, where you collect their email information first and then ask them for their phone number and if they are open to being contacted with updates on events.
Yeah. Yeah. I think yeah. I do both. I sometimes leave it optional. And then I have because in my group, some people were talking about like how WhatsApp is works better for them. So I'm also thinking of getting numbers to set up the WhatsApp. So, but I'm gonna be more conscious about like getting the phone numbers to give myself that flexibility in the future for when that time comes. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Someone reached out to me on the chat asking Aaron whether we're going to be sending the recording of this out. Um, Bobby,
Yes, absolutely.
are you going to send the slides and the
I will
recording out
attach
in a
them
few
to the
days?
meetup and I will notify everyone who signed up for the meetup. It will be on the meetup. And if you drop your email in the chat now, I'll make sure you get a separate email with the information.
Cool. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? If not, I have a question for you guys. So on the last conversational voice AI agent meetup, we discussed a little bit about some of the ethical issues around AI voice agents, and I'm curious what the people here think. Do you think if an AI agent calls you that it should, or you call in to a place, should it announce itself as an AI agent? Or because it's indistinguishable, do you think, hey, it's okay, I don't care either way? I'm curious what people here think.
Well, I'll always start because I find like now that I know what I know, it's different, but I would always listen for a call to see if it was a robot or if it was a robocall or whatever, and then I would instantly hang up. I think a lot of people will challenge themselves to try to find out. And again, once you can't determine it, I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Because again, you're not doing that final sales booking call, you're getting everybody funneled through to that point. So
And again, it depends on the use case. Like, would you care if you're at a hotel and you're ordering room service and it's an AI agent, just, saying, hey, how do you want your eggs? And, do you want a side of bacon with that? Like, would you care that it didn't announce itself as an AI agent taking your order?
not at all.
Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Hey, Peter, it's Rich.
Hey, Rich.
Hey, so I'm working with Peter on several different projects right now, and I can tell you about an experience that is relevant in the area I'm working on, which is hiring and HR. There's a fair number of AI interview agents out there right now where you can get people calling you and doing preliminary interviews. And it'll do something like, do you have experience in X? And then you answer it, and then it'll say, okay, I understand you have this experience in X. And then it'll go on to the next question, the next question, the next question. So it doesn't necessarily announce itself as an AI agent, but it does say, I'm here to do a pre-interview with you for X position.
Okay.
The industry's perspective on this, and I use the word industry broadly, but the industry's perspective on this is don't bother, because as a preliminary filtering mechanism, the people who get responses for these, or the people who get secondary responses for these, seems to be almost non-existent. So that calls into question even why are they even doing it. But I'm just citing this example, Peter, as one I know firsthand in my own experience.
Yeah, I find it really interesting. I
So
actually met someone a couple years ago who was doing this before LLMs came out, had a product that would do these AI interviews. I'm not sure how her company ever did, but it seems very interesting use case for AI voice agents to do that initial screening of candidates. Of
well,
course, you
there
can
was
do the
even
interview any time of the day. Again, the availability is there, so you don't have to make the call 9 to 5 while you're at your current job. Do it at, 11 o'clock at night.
some AI based interview stuff where they would have an avatar doing the interview for you. It wasn't just voice. It was, you would log into a session and there'd be some avatar there, and they were supposedly looking at your responses and your facial tics and all this other kind of stuff. That was more or less proven to be completely false.
Okay.
And that has gone nowhere right now. And I'm not saying I'm against this. I'm not. I think it's actually got a lot of potential in certain areas, but to me, it would sound like you need to really get upfront with some kind of a value message where you say, I'm here to do this, and if you do that, we will give you X, or you can get Y, or something like that. So if you can get them on a hook pretty quick, then maybe you've got a shot at going through it. And I will also tell you that I didn't myself do this, but I listened to one of the people in my household go through an interview yesterday, and I heard and I said, that's AI. And she went, no,
That was going to be my next
no. And I
question. I'm
said,
curious
yeah,
if
that's
anyone
AI.
has ever had an interview with an AI agent. Has anyone experienced that? I haven't.
No, but
So,
I have to interview people for the mentorship program, and I'm thinking maybe I don't. Just kidding. If you're flying, I'm kidding.
I
but
think there's lines that need to be drawn here and not necessarily crossed. But is there a lot of value in what this can be to reach a lot of people inexpensively? Obviously.
Yeah. I saw something like 2 weeks ago that blew my mind, that people are now creating AI avatars to take the interviews.
Oh yeah, there's a whole subreddit industry on that. It all started on Reddit, as most of this insanity does, right?
Like what happens like when you show up for work? Like you get the job. Like do you take the job or your AI agent gets the
Take the job.
job?
Well, you know what it is, right? They sell, what happens is somebody does the, so the scam has been, particularly in coding, somebody will get the job and then farm out the job to somebody else
Hmm.
at a lower rate, in some place somewhere in the world, and then
Okay.
go
That's
back.
that's gonna be, yeah, that's our next affiliate program. We're working on that. Right, Joey? That's our next. You're coming up with great ideas, Rich. We
And
love
and, and I got to tell you, my brother is an IT manager for a large company in New York City, and he caught people doing that.
yeah. We were talking about like all the scams and stuff and people and like a good friend of mine that Joey and Bobby know, my friend Jim, like contacted me the other day talking about like how these agents and even just humans are calling people and scamming the elderly, and like how like what safeguards can we put in place, because it doesn't seem like the carriers are doing a good enough job. Um,
I don't understand how the FCC has let this ball slip, or ball drop. I don't. All I can say is I used to be big into the FCC and regulations, as I was in radio for a while doing that stuff. And the FCC has not been a viable entity basically since the Clintons, in my opinion. And it's dropped the ball. It really has. And they should be the ones enforcing this kind of stuff on the telecoms.
Well, the scams are so sophisticated now. I have twins who are seniors in college, and they were sending out to these college kids from professors in other uh, disciplines in the school. So my daughter's in Boston University, so her friend got a letter from another professor at Boston University saying about this great job offer. They're getting them all excited so that their parents won't be disappointed in you when you graduate, really getting them on the hook, and then asking them for money and these kids are, they're like, they need a job more than they need air at this point. So I'm like, don't listen to the scams. Just,
wow,
The first
that's
red
a crazy
flag,
scam.
the first red flag is they ask for money. Don't ever give
yeah,
anybody money.
yeah. Well, we need to get your portfolio set up, so we'll do it for you. Like whatever they have to say, but it's
Hmm.
awful, awful. But one of the use cases that I heard for this technology, which I really liked, was stuff that you don't deal with anymore. Like if you're a large company and you have a dead list or a customer that hasn't purchased your product or engaged in you in a long time, you can give this type of AI agent that task. Go through
Yeah,
my dead
yeah,
zones and find me, resurrect some clients for me. And
yeah.
it's things that you wouldn't necessarily waste your time on because you feel that they're already gone. But this technology isn't a waste of time
This
when it
makes it
comes
not
to
cost
stuff.
effective to go after that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's a topic that I actually do really like, called sentiment analysis. And so you use your data that comes out of that into building sentiment analysis. And the better systems, the better CRM systems and other tools like that are doing the sentiment analysis. And so you can use, that's one of the legs of it, right? So you also use other levels of communications to gather
Yeah.
these sentiments. But that's one of the great ways where you can bring that back, because I think, as you're suggesting, you'll get people to say things that maybe they wouldn't normally say.
So we've had talked to some prospective clients recently who are like, hey, aside from, collecting all these data and having these conversations, we'd like to be able to analyze some of this around sentiment analysis. And maybe this is a good segue, Joey. Do you have a minute or two? Like, what can you disclose a little bit about Nova Echo 2.0 that's coming out soon?
Sure. I will tell you guys this. We've been doing a lot of testing with it right now, recently, and it has much lower latency. And from Don's request, I believe I'm going to put together a document that explains everything that we actually can say at this point. But it has much lower latency than what we currently have, which blew my mind and is amazing. And it has some new features that I haven't seen on the market at all before. One of them being that you're going to be able to log in on your phone and see all of the leads that have shown a lot of interest, but weren't able to book an appointment at that time that need manual following up with, which we'll be able to distinguish between. And you'll be able to just call them on your phone. So that allows for a much more holistic approach when we're looking at just sales in general. So instead of just offering, just a voice AI, we're offering a platform that allows voice AI to help humans do better in sales. So that's really what our goal is.
You
Very
think
funny, Don.
you think people will be more open to an AI? I don't know. I feel guilty with ChatGPT. I'm always, apologizing to it, saying
Are you
thank
kidding
you,
me?
trying to be encouraging. Because my feeling is, hey, at some point they're going to take over and they're going to be my overlord. And I want them to remember I was nice to them back
Oh
in the
my
day.
God.
Yes, Kent Brockman, right? The on The Simpsons, right? Would always end his newscast with, and I welcome our future alien overlords or whatever, right? But my wife just reflexively will thank Alexa for the reminders or the weather or whatever she like. Just, oh, thanks. Is like, why are
I
you
have
thanking this
never
thing?
thanked or been polite to my agents.
For some
Didn't
people
you
it's a
hear
reflex,
Sam?
and in some community, like, again, in some communities, I suspect that if something said, I am collecting market research, I am not human, please be blunt and as open with me as possible, that in some communities where people might be tempted. I know we're all used to, Americans especially, right? Say, calling, right, and yelling at the humans like, you suck, right? Why is my
I've
delivery
never
late?
done that either, though.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But I would to
I
an AI agent.
once upon a time when I was, in tech support, right? I have heard, your product is terrible. I was like, okay, well, if you, what, why are you telling me to press the any key when there's no any key on the keyboard?
Yep.
And I bit my tongue. And, but but yeah, I mean, in some cultures, people will not, you know, say anything negative to a human being. It's just not permissible. So maybe we'd be able to get better market research by saying, I'm not human, give me both barrels.
Yep, tell me the truth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go full disclosure up front. It's the best way to get response.
Mhm.
So it's funny, a friend of mine who's a lawyer who I demoed Nova Echo to was like, oh, I would prefer talking to an AI because I want to be short, succinct, to the point. I don't want to get all chit-chatty with a human. I think for a lot of interactions, me and many other people would actually prefer this type of interaction. And I thought that was an interesting insight.
We're collecting data. We'd like your insights. Please be as blunt as you'd like.
You can't hurt my feelings.
Bingo. I think that works.
All right. So we scheduled this for an hour and a half. But if no one has any other questions or insights or questions, I have one last question, which is in the next hour, who do you guys think the New York Giants should draft with their pick? Any football fans here
Aaron
who?
Rodgers.
No, no, no. We're not taking Aaron Rodgers.
Can they draft an AI?
I was going to go ask an AI to get an answer from Peter because I know nothing about sports. Gonna hurry up, go to ChatGPT, ask the question.
right.
I'll date
Bobby, if
myself.
you
I
want
mean, does Lawrence Taylor have any kids or?
to.
Anyway,
Right.
well, I do.
So,
Can I
Bobby and
can I
Joey, I'll
get
leave it to you if you have any last words or.
I just appreciate everybody showing up. I will post to the meetup the transcript and the video and the presentation for anyone. And our emails are all have been put in the chat. We'll put them in again, or you can reach out through the meetup and ask a question, and I will make sure it gets directed to the right person. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you very much for coming out. Appreciate it. And
Thanks,
look forward to
everyone.
the part 2 and 3 in the series coming up next month.
Yes. We'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Hello.
thank you.
Yes, Irene.
Hi. I was just wondering, will the recording be sent today?
Tomorrow morning.
Oh, oh, okay.
It
All
takes
right.
on my computer, it takes about an hour for it to crunch it up and get it all ready.
Okay.
So if I can get it out to you tonight, I will. If not, it will be done first thing in the morning.
Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye-bye. Have a great night.
Thank you.